Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Empyrion Galactic Survival episode 30. I'm Enigmius and we're here on Omicron, taking the first steps towards intergalactic supremacy. We left Akua and Akua's moon behind, except I kind of expect we'll be making a quick trip back to Akua in the near future. We're here overlooking the green waters of the bay where we kind of basically left our ship. It's not a bay, it's like a small lake with nothing attached to it. There's no rivers, there's no ocean, so just a big glob of water with a boundary along one edge, which kind of helps us a little bit. We wanted to have a little bit of water nearby so that we could produce water and oxygen, and that's really the only reason. And it kind of looks nice when you want to take a break, but that's by far not the only thing that we've been thinking about. We've been building. And we've been building a lot, and the reason why we've been building a lot, one is because we still have a ton of concrete with which to build, and two, with the variety of flora that's available on this planet, I kind of expect that this would be sort of a central location for us. No matter what we need to make, we may have to go somewhere else to get certain ores, we may even have to go somewhere else to get certain specific kinds of plants or whatever, but for the most part we can find everything that we need here. And if we can't find it, we can set ourselves up to grow it. And if we can't find it or grow it, it's not that frequent that we'll need it, that we wouldn't be able to just make the occasional excursion elsewhere. So this is our production warehouse. We have an elevator going up to the roof, or one of the roofs of the production warehouse. We'll actually just hop outside here now that the sun is up. And we could kind of take a look. Now we have to get past the scope lag. There we go. See, it looks like it's kind of scoped in, but it's not. Then we let go. It's trying so hard. Okay, we're going to let it not do very well for a few seconds. Even if the sun was on this side, it would be kind of difficult to see, so we're just going to hop into the drone, and you can see we've got kind of a foyer level with a cannon turret on it, and this is basically providing 180-degree turret coverage to anything that might be moving along the ground to attack either our base or any parked ships that happen to be nearby. Though I will say that for the Spectre here, all of the minigun turrets I left active because when we got set up here, I wasn't sure what kind of ground-based enemies were going to be around, and I didn't want them, jumping me in the middle of the night and causing all kinds of problems. Up top here, I'm kind of tempted to actually have like another level, sort of like that, and making it a farm level and then having it extend farther than the current warehouse level is going. We've got drone control issues. We've got flak cannons here, a total of 5, although I don't know if this one here on top is going to stay there. They're all in a position where they can all basically shoot anything that's in the air coming our way, so that's a lot of coverage. We've had 2 drone assaults. The first one was 2 minigun drones, and the second one was 3 minigun drones that came after us in the middle of the night. So I wanted to make sure that we were well covered. We've got concrete, of course, which is only like 40 hit points instead of the 200 if we were using combat steel, I think is the comparison. One way or the other, no matter how accurate my numbers may or may not be, concrete isn't a particularly resilient material when you're talking about soaking damage. The glass here in the front is armored glass, and then all the rest of the glass, the sides and all that going all the way around, all the square windows, that's all regular glass. We'll have the option to upgrade it later if we want. We'll see how it goes. I really don't expect this to be the kind of base that undergoes a lot of enemy assaults, but I'm not going to make any promises. It's just the way it works out. And that's the base so far. So like I say, we might add another level up here and just have like a really, really large farming area so we can grow as much as we could possibly use of anything. And then we have the other area that we can fill with basically production machines like constructors, food processors, and cargo storage. That's kind of the goal. We have one of those really big generators powering this place, which is kind of fun. And we also have one of the really big tier 3 fuel tanks holding the fuel that keeps things under control. You can see we're good for fuel for a little while. We've got plenty of flak ammunition. We have, did I even put any ammunition whatsoever for the cannon in here yet? No, I did not. Yeah, it's kind of a letdown on my part. Come around here, you can see we've already got 5 tier 2 constructors in place, and most of them are, I guess they're sitting idle right now. I had given them instructions to process a variety of the ores that we were carrying around on the Spectre. You can see this guy, he's going to be busy for a while processing neodymium ingots after he made a little bit of iron and a little bit of cobalt based on what we had. So I just kind of set it myself up so that we can set machines with stuff that they have to process and then go away for a while. You can see we needed more rock dust because we needed apparently more concrete. So I just have this really hard time throwing away crushed stone. It's a sickness. I can't get away from it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of a wander around because the base is obviously incomplete. Oh, there's one other thing I want to show up in the base, and it's right here. We don't have to go far. I was doing a little bit of detailing on the inside, and not saying like this is the best design ever. It's pretty busy, and it's kind of you could take it or leave it, but it was something that I wanted to do, just mess around and get interesting shapes and designs going in the upper area. I'm not a big fan of crown molding painted the color of urine. It's not the kind of thing that I aim for in architectural design, but I wanted to paint it something that would make it stand out against the gray so that you could actually see what I was referring to very clearly with the different curving things and the different angles coming together and all that other stuff. If I really wanted to take this to the next and possibly final level, I would add another curved corner like this one. I would add it right here and then kind of extend it along that way and finish it off so that you don't see this curved line anymore. It's just even more naturally complete. I doubt that I'm actually going to take it that far. I'm just not that motivated to try and figure out these corners. But I do like the shape. I do like the fact that it's better than just kind of 90-degree intersections. So we're going to kind of roll with it. We'll get out our flashlight here. And you can see we've been doing the same thing along here and just kind of using that little corner piece whenever there's a transition that we couldn't use the curved stuff for, like these 22.5-degree slopes. There's no curve that actually replaces those. So we just kind of end it. Did that disappear? I could have sworn there was one of those curved pieces right there, like that one, only on that side, and that now it's not there. It could be that I'm losing my mind, but you get the idea anyways. Kind of doing all the things that make the things work the way we want them to, and we'll kind of carry it around all the way around. And I want to do something with the colors inside, textures, things like that. But it's a big place, and it's kind of one of the things you do when you just feel like chilling out because it's dark outside and you don't really feel like going out and fighting all the bad guys that are attacking you and all that other stuff. So now, because we've done so little actual exploration of Omicron since we've been here, we're just going to take a quick tour so you guys can see what I've seen so far, which is only one bad guy, and hopefully we'll be able to find him again because he's one of the most adorable bad guys I've seen. Very much up along the lines of the slimes that we had on Akua. This here I thought was kind of interesting. This is a textured plant protein. It's actually something that you gather, and it's a food source. I hear a slimy noise. This here is moss, fire moss scrapings. I kind of can't help but wonder if maybe that's not just poo that's on the ground that's been sitting there until it started growing moss and we just scraped it up. But you never know. Yes, I definitely hear a slime-like noise, and we're going to very carefully creep our way up here and see if we can't find the culprit who's responsible for making that noise. Now I hear footsteps. Oh, there he is. Alright, now that we've got the right UI thing set up, look at this guy. He's a desert worm, and he's just got this big open mouth with a few little teeth, and he kind of skitters around making slime grunty noises, and he's completely passive. You can pet him, you can do whatever you want. He's just running around. I know that's not the best view It's kind of a ways down there, but I've seen some other and some perhaps more accessible places. I've seen the list of bad guys that we can encounter on this planet, and that's why I don't necessarily want to run off too far. I'm not necessarily intimidated by anything that we would encounter here, except for the ground, because this is kind of considered a starting planet. And if you're on this planet and you're starting, the difficulty in starting on this planet, as opposed to like Akua, is that there's no oxygen in the atmosphere, so you have to be right on top of that from the very beginning. But realistically speaking, I'm not expecting anything here to represent this enormous challenge. Look at this guy. Hey there, pal. I don't know what he drops if you kill him. I haven't got that far yet. It'll eventually be another one of those things where we just kind of shoot them in the head because we can. But for now, you know, they're just worms. You know, they're kind of probably curious about what's been going on over here. And we're going to let them do their thing for a little while before we start doing horrible things to them for no good reason. Maybe they've actually got something very useful. Kind of inclined to think not. But you never know. And aside from those guys, I haven't really seen anything. There's apparently like big guys with like 4 legs and 3 tentacles, and there's arachnids, which are like scorpions, which are apparently very mean. There's a variety of fauna that we didn't have on Akua that I'm kind of interested in seeing. But for right now, I could have sworn when I came up to one of these for the first time before I found out what it was, that there was going to be a bug that just crawled right on out of there, and I thought, ew. But it's textured plant protein, which, for those of you not aware, if you're buying like the Ives brand vegetarian meat substitute, if you read the ingredients for anything involving ground beef, it will say that it contains textured meat protein, and that's kind of the running joke, is it's supposed to be vegetables, why can't you give it a name that isn't so terrifying? There's cobra leaves. We've seen these on Akua. There's also eggplant around here, which looks a little bit like the textured plant protein. It's a little bit smaller. It's a little bit more oblong. It's not quite so rounded. And if I'm not mistaken, we'll be coming across that sort of thing very soon. I've taken to carrying around a really robust supply of coffee because it's a great way to replenish your stamina. See, he's just skittering around. He's not hurting anybody. I don't even know what they eat. Maybe they eat textured plant protein, and that's why they're so passive. They don't have to kill, they just have to eat. Yeah, textured plant protein. And textured plant protein, I thought at one point was going to be useful for something that I really wanted to have. And I've since learned that's not the case. It's not as useful, but the eggplant, on the other hand, really is potentially quite useful for making medicine. Energy pills, I think specifically, is like 1 eggplant and 2 pieces of magnesium, which to me is kind of terrifying. Here's an eggplant right here. It looks kind of like an egg, and it's a plant. And you take it, and now it's green. Doing a lot of scraping of plants and things on this planet. It's a little bit disturbing, because why are we just taking the skin? What was it before? It was useful skin. Is this also poo, or is this just one of those things awaiting completion as an asset in the game? You never know. So we're just kind of cruising around. Oh, see, scraping it again. Scraping the red or the purple, and it turns green underneath. And we're just assuming that it's a really good idea to eat and or use in medicine. I'm not sure I'm going with the logic on that one, but it's kind of out of my hands. So that's basically what we found on the outskirts. I could go all the way around that way, and come up the other side, but it's kind of pointless because there's nothing over that way that we haven't seen up this way. So there's a few things that I want to do. There's a plan in place here, and I've kind of sat down and figured out what I want to be focusing on and what I need to be doing in order for that to happen. And one of the first things that I want to do is I want to finish the base, which is not a problem. It's just a matter of taking the time to do it. We've got plenty of materials to do the main structure. That's not a big deal. I'm out of iron, and it's actually problematic. It's preventing me from making a lot of really basic things like an oxygen generator. And when I say oxygen generator, that's the thing that you put in the water that creates oxygen tanks, which you then put into your oxygen tanks to feed your oxygen dispenser kind of thing. So I would like to have some of those up and running just so that we never have to worry about oxygen ever again. Look at our ship, and it's just the weirdest position you can ever imagine. I don't even think it knows what direction is up. So that's something that I need to address, and I'm thinking probably the easiest way to handle that is to, yeah, we already cleared that one, is to either do a little bit of scouting around here and see if we get lucky in terms of the location of iron relative to our base, or worst case scenario, scoot back to Akua, and there's so many iron deposits there that in an atmosphere that we don't have to worry about being shot at by ground bases or drones. It's basically completely cleared out. It's not a threatening planet anymore. And as I say that, the turret starts shooting at something. That's okay, this isn't Akua, so they're allowed to shoot at things for unknown reasons. So that's one option. The bottom line is we have to get some iron. After we get some iron, I want to make a bit of an excursion to a planet that has Erestrium, I think is the one that we need. Erestrium is the ore that's required to make hardened steel plates that we can use to make all the really good combat steel and hardened steel and all that other stuff. And if we get it in quantity, then we can start really thinking about redoing our capital ship. The next iteration of the capital ship has to be larger. Believe it or not, this one is already starting to get cramped. There's very, very limited room for us to put the kind of things that we want to put in the orientation that we want. So we need to address that. It's going to be wider. It's going to be a little bit taller, possibly, mostly just wider. And it's going to be better able to maneuver. There will be more thrusters, more generators to power those thrusters, and all the things that we could be doing with the capital ship so that when we move on to other places, we don't feel like we're outgunned. One of the biggest things that I've encountered with this ship design is that we have enough guns that we can take on pretty much anything as long as whatever we're trying to destroy can't destroy our guns, which is not the case. The guns can be destroyed fairly quickly and easily, and then you're screwed because you're defenseless. So something with more guns, the power to keep them running, generators to keep plenty of thrusters going, fuel tanks to supply the generators, room for the warp drive without just being this big hump on the back of the ship, at least one hangar for like a runabout kind of ship like we've got in there now, and do it all in a way that looks hopefully kind of cool, and we're just happy with. This is going to be a good ship for tooling around, getting those things that we need to get up and running with construction of that new capital ship. But eventually we're going to have to move up into something that's a little bit more capable. So that's the plan. Next episode, you can expect to see this thing, at least the exterior structure complete, and also probably a pretty good idea of where we're going to be going for the things that we're picking up. We're not going to do a 20-minute episode mining iron. I promise you guys that. I'll never do a 20-minute episode of mining anything. We're going to gather the materials we need. If we have to go to a planet we haven't been before for the restroom, which is probably going to be the case, we'll definitely record some of that, but it's not going to be a long-time exploration trip. It's going to be find the crap, mine it, and get out kind of thing. And then we'll go from there. So if you guys want to be notified when I add those new videos, you can always subscribe to my channel or follow me on social media. Links for social media are always in the information section below the video. Feel free to leave your comments and feedback. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.